So Anthony Furey has a column in Sun newspapers today about the tax addicts. Do we need an intervention?
I think we do, but I don't think it's going to work, Jerry, because these folks are very self-righteous, emboldened, and certain of the fact that you got to be grateful that they're not taking more of your money. In fact, the whole fact that you're not getting taxed at 100% means you're kind of getting away with some funny business there, Agar.
Well, these are the people who decry something like income splitting or any kind of tax break as almost a taking from the government.
Well, and this is what we're fighting here. My column is about a latest report from the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives. Such a neutral sounding name, isn't it? But not a very neutral organization. They're talking about Toronto city finances, but the fact it's about Toronto is immaterial. What interests me about it is their overarching philosophy and how they look at taxes. And exactly to your point, that idea that they say in this report, there are so many taxes in Toronto that don't exist. There's no road toll tax. There's no tax on movie admissions at the local level. There is no local income tax. All these bevy of taxes they present out there, and they are just indignant that these aren't there yet because, of course, our government betters, Jerry, are entitled to all of our money, and whatever they don't take from us already, well, we should just shut up and be thankful they haven't taken more.
Has the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives decried waste on any level? Like specifically, not lip service, but actually come out and said, here are some places in 2014 where the government wasted your money?
No, in this actual report, and again, it's just about Toronto finances, they say, oh, waste is not even an issue because, in tongue-in-cheek to Rob Ford, we spent 4 years searching for this elusive gravy train, found nothing, search over. They're actually saying that's it. There is no spending problem. It's entirely a revenue problem.
Well, not true. And in fact, even the Rob Ford haters, and they are legion, would have to admit that when Rob Ford engineered a contracting out of garbage on the west side of the city, immediately complaint calls went down and it's cheaper service to deliver. That was getting rid of some of the so-called gravy. That was improving service without increasing tax.
And what we have here is laziness. It's very easy to say, all right, we want some new, nice, shiny bauble project. It's pretty easy to just pass an edict to raise taxes and stick the poor low-income guy who's going to have to pay for this with it. What's really hard is to really go and practice high-level management efficiency processes to find out what's exactly going on at your bureaucracy. How many people do you really need? Do you need 7 arborists? Do you need 17 arborists? That's a really tough question that a lot of us can't answer, and astute management does that. And it's simply lazy for policy analysts to say, all the stones, oh, they've been turned already. I highly beg to differ, especially since nobody's looking after the public dollars like it's their own dollars, and they have enough problems in the private sector as it is.
Well, I've always felt that if the only answer politicians have is more taxes, then let's stop paying them and just get ourselves a parrot so that every time we have a problem, so what are we going to do about it? Taxes! Raise the taxes, and then we raise the taxes. I mean, it's that simplistic to me to have no answer other than raising taxes. And you point out in your column, by the way, that many of their ideas, amazingly, from a liberal organization like this, would actually hurt low-income people first.
Well, absolutely. They weigh in against income inequality. They're really upset about it. But there are so many taxes out there that really do harm low-income people, whether we're talking road tolls, this movie tax, because if you're a billionaire, it doesn't really matter whether the movie costs $12.95 or $14.95 or what have you. But obviously, if this is your one night out of the week or the month or whatever, taking the kids out, you add up all the bills, the fees for the popcorn and everything, $8 more, that's a lot of money.
Well, you know, that doesn't get talked about, I think, enough when people start talking about user fees on the road, tolls, or however they want to explain it, high occupancy vehicle lanes, or you got to pay to go over here. Again, the wealthy individual in the Beamer who wants to get to work will say, oh, it's going to cost me $6 today. I don't care. I'm getting in the lane because I got to get to work, or I just want to get to work, or whatever. And meanwhile, it's either a problem or an expense for a person who doesn't have the extra money.
Well, it's a problem with the social engineers, big time. Places like in the suburbs, Scarborough, low-income folks have less access to good quality transportation, less subways, buses, what have you. How are they supposed to get by? And the other problem, Jerry, whenever you have, say, a TTC strike, for instance, any public transit strike, it's always that low-income worker who probably doesn't have a secure job where you can just take the day off and chalk it up as a sick day or a vacation day. They probably just don't get paid. So many of these social engineering projects, oh, they're fantastic in this vacuum of equations, but they usually hurt folks, and they usually hurt the working folks disproportionately.
I think that these groups claim to care about the working folk, the ordinary people, but that's not it. They just hate the rich.
I think
they're fixated. They hate the rich.
There's a huge amount of resentment going on here. I think that's entirely what it is. And a lot of these people are not exactly poor themselves anyway, because you get six-figure salaries.
Limousine liberal types?
Yeah, generally working in these sort of more champagne socialist propaganda associations. And I just think it's really unfortunate and lazy. Lazy is the key word here.
All right. Anthony Ferry's column is in the Sun newspapers. Thank you, Anthony. Hey, we'd like to keep in touch with you on Twitter. It's Jerry Agar 1010. Jerry Agar 1010. Let's get going back and forth on the issues.